This machine was never meant to be safe. It weighed more than a fully loaded Boeing 747. It could pull thousands of tons up a mountain without help. And inside its steel shell, a single mistake could turn power into death. This was the Union Pacific Big Boy, the most powerful steam locomotive ever built. But behind the headlines and record books, behind the photos and museum displays, was a reality few people talk about. Because the Big Boy wasn't just powerful, it was dangerous. And today, we're uncovering the hidden dangers of the world's most powerful steam locomotive. Before we dive deeper, if you enjoy deep dive history stories like this, take a second to like the video. It really helps the channel. And if you want more stories about legendary machines, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, let's go back to where this monster was born. In the late 1930s, America's railroads faced a serious problem. The Wasatch Mountains in Utah stood directly in the path of Union Pacific's main transcontinental route. The grade was just over 1%. That might not sound like much. But for steam locomotives pulling heavy freight, it was brutal. Trains crawled uphill, wheels slipped, engines overheated. To make it through, freight trains needed 2, sometimes 3, locomotives working together. Helper engines had to be added at the base of the mountains, then removed at the summit. Each stop cost time, and time was something America was about to run out of. By the early 1940s, the world was at war. Factories were running nonstop. Weapons, fuel, vehicles, and food all depended on rail transport. Union Pacific's Wasatch route became one of the most critical rail corridors in the country. Freight traffic exploded. Ton miles over this section nearly doubled in just a few years. Trains backed up for miles, crews worked around the clock. And still it wasn't enough. Union Pacific needed a solution. Not more engines, not more crews. One locomotive, a single machine powerful enough to haul massive trains up the mountains alone. What engineers proposed next pushed steam technology to its absolute limits. They designed a locomotive with a 4-8-8 for-wheel arrangement. For wheels in front for stability, to sets of 8 massive driving wheels for traction, and for wheels at the back to support the largest firebox ever installed on a steam engine. This wasn't just a locomotive, it was a moving industrial plant. The boiler alone operated at 300 pounds per square inch, an enormous amount of pressure for the time. Inside, water was heated to the edge of violence. Every rivet, every plate of steel, every stabolt had to survive constant stress. If anything failed, the consequences would be immediate. In 1941, the first locomotive rolled out of the American Locomotive Company factory. Workers reportedly stood in silence as it emerged. It stretched over 132 feet with its tender. It weighed more than 1.2 million pounds. Someone scrawled 2 words in chalk on the front, Big Boy. The name stuck. Between 1941 and 1944, 25 of these giants were built. Each one cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions in today's money. Union Pacific finally had its solution, but power always demands a price. Inside the Big Boy's cab, conditions were brutal. Temperatures regularly exceeded 120 degrees Fahrenheit. There was no air conditioning, no insulation from the firebox just feet away. Engineers and firemen worked soaked in sweat, often stripped to undershirts. Heat shimmered in the air. Fatigue wasn't just uncomfortable, it was dangerous. A tired crew member could miss a gauge, a pressure spike, a warning sign, and on a machine like this. Missing one detail could be fatal. If you're finding this story interesting so far, make sure you like the video. It tells YouTube you want more content like this. And if you're new here, subscribe for more deep dives into history's most extreme machines. Now, let's talk about what scared crews the most. The Big Boy's boiler was a controlled explosion. Superheated water, extreme pressure, relentless heat. Thousands of stabolts held the boiler together. If enough failed, the boiler could tear itself apart. A steam boiler explosion doesn't burn, it detonates. When this happened on older locomotives, Entire crews were killed instantly. The big boy was built stronger than anything before it, but stronger didn't mean invincible. Every run depended on constant monitoring. Every mile was a calculated risk. The big boy wasn't just hot, it was violent. Its massive pistons slammed back and forth with incredible force. Steel rods weighed thousands of pounds and moved at high speed. Bearings could overheat in minutes. If one seized, it could rip components apart. Crews watched for the smell of burning oil. The first sign something was going wrong. Miss it and the locomotive could destroy itself. With you still inside, the danger wasn't theoretical. In 1953, Big Boy No. 405 derailed near Wamsutter, Wyoming. Traveling at nearly 50 miles per hour, it struck a misaligned switch. The locomotive and 18 cars left the rails. 3 crew members lost their lives. It wasn't a failure of power. It was a reminder that when something goes wrong at this scale, the consequences are unforgiving. Despite the danger, crews respected the big boy. It did what nothing else could. It eliminated helper engines, reduced delays, kept wartime freight moving when failure wasn't an option. It was exhausting, it was dangerous, but it worked. Diesel locomotives eventually replaced steam. They were cheaper, safer, easier to maintain. Most big boys were scrapped. Only 8 survived. One big boy for 1014 runs again today, rebuilt with modern safety systems. But back in its prime, the big boy was not just a locomotive. It was a test of human endurance, a machine that demanded perfection. A reminder that ultimate power always carries risk, and that is the hidden danger of the world's most powerful steam locomotive.